Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today I'm taking a look at JBL's newest portable compact speaker, and that's the Clip 4. And I'll also be comparing it to the previous version, Clip 3, and the JBL Go 3. But stay tuned to the end of this video because I'm giving one of these bad boys away. Let's check it out. So let's take a closer look at the Clip 4 here. So you can see they went with a more oval shape as opposed to the last generation Clip 3's circular shape. And not only that, they went with a much wider carabiner here on the Clip 4 as opposed to the more narrow and long carabiner we saw on the Clip 3. And it's very clear that JBL is drifting more towards a very specific aesthetic style because we see this very large branding here on the front, the same branding that we saw on the Go 3 here. So more than ever before, you can basically take a look at this and tell they're JBL, and not just because they have this gigantic JBL branding on the front either. And I really do like the new styling here. We have that same fabric mesh that wraps over the top, but then it continues onto the bottom here. With the previous Clip 3, we just had that mesh wrap on the top, but on the bottom, it was more of a soft touch rubber. And just like that metal frame that wraps around the whole body of the Clip 3, the JBL Clip 4 has exactly the same thing. We do have that metal frame that wraps around the whole body, but as you can see, it's much thicker, which is going to give it much more durability if you accidentally drop it. And of course, the frame leads up and forms that carabiner, which in my opinion is better thought out. You can see this little door here has a nice little crevice that it fits into when you're going to clip it on something. And this whole frame is made of metal, but I'm not really sure about this little clip here because it has some sort of rubber coating on it. And now let's talk about the buttons here. So we have the plus minus volume controls and the play pause button right dead center on the top, just as we saw on the previous version Clip 3. And then the power button and Bluetooth syncing button are located right here on the bottom on the side, which is fine. We saw the same thing right here on the Clip 3, but it makes me wonder, we have plenty of space down here under this gigantic JBL branding. We could have put that power button and Bluetooth button right down here. That just seems like a better place for it as opposed to on the bottom portion of the speaker right under this frame on the side. But the questionable positioning of these buttons aside, they work pretty well. One of the major upgrades we see in the Clip 4 is now we have USB Type-C charging as opposed to micro USB. But do you guys see something here under the Clip 3's flap that we don't see on the Clip 4? That's right. There's no more auxiliary jack. So those of you who like to connect to your speakers via 3.5mm auxiliary jack, you can't do that with the new Clip 4. But the Clip 4 does have the latest 5.1 Bluetooth as opposed to the 4.1 Bluetooth we saw on the Clip 3. And from all my tests around the house, I didn't have one dropout with the Clip 4. It retains the same 10-hour battery life on a 3-hour charge, almost double what we see in the JBL Go 3, but it's almost double the price too. It also has the same dust and waterproof rating IP67 as we saw in the Clip 3. But I can't find anywhere on JBL's website that talks about the impact resistance rating. And now let's take a look at the bottom of the Clip 4 here. So we have those same rubberized diagonal feet as we saw on, where is it? On the Go 3 right here. But on the Clip 4, it's on the bottom here, and on the Go 3, it's on the side. And if you guys saw my JBL Go 3 video, you know if you put it on the side here and play it, it's perfectly fine, but laying on its back, just like the Clip 4 here, it just flips and dances all over the place. And I didn't even think about it when I was recording this video, but seeing the Clip 4, I kind of wish they put these rubberized feet on the bottom here as opposed to the side, because naturally when I put down a speaker, I just put it down face up like this. But granted, on the Clip 4, you have to put it down on its back like this because it doesn't stand up on its side. And like I said before, I'm really liking the new style that JBL is heading towards. You know, if you take off this gigantic, obnoxious JBL branding right here, and you can basically tell that they're from the same family, especially when you see these diagonal rubberized feet here, you can just tell. And these two speakers are very, very similar. They're almost exactly the same size. The Clip 4 is just slightly larger. They both have attachment points, the Clip 4 in the form of this carabiner and the Go 3 in the form of this little lanyard, and I kind of like this little flexible lanyard here. And I'm looking at the specs right now online on JBL's website. On the Clip 4, the transducer is 40 millimeters and it has a 5-watt RMS, as opposed to a 43 by 47 millimeter transducer with a 4.2 watt RMS on the Go 3. So based on those specs alone, the Clip 4 should be slightly louder than the Go 3. And there's other slight differences, such as the frequency response being slightly different, but the average person really isn't going to notice small things like that. And just looking at these two speakers side by side, almost being the same size, almost having the same technology in both, it comes down to little things such as 10-hour battery life as opposed to 5-hour battery life, a $70 speaker versus a $40 speaker. Other than those two things, they're almost the same speaker, other than, you know, slight aesthetics here. But the most disappointing thing about both of these brand new portable speakers from JBL is the fact that they got rid of the 3.5 millimeter auxiliary jack on both of these two models, and they don't sync to each other or any of the other speakers in the same category. And one other thing, you could also make speaker calls on the Clip 3, which you can no longer do on the Clip 4. So just like every generational upgrade, we're losing a few things on the new generation, but we're also gaining some upgrades, such as the Bluetooth 5.1 and the USB Type-C charging. But in the case of the Clip 3 and the Clip 4, the sound difference is in a whole other league. I used to really like the sound that came out of this Clip 3, but hearing these guys side by side, there is no competition. And you'll see that once I do the sound test. First, I'll let you guys listen to the JBL Clip 4 and then compare it with the Clip 3 and the Go 3. And speaking of that sound test, let's get into that right now. So I'm gonna play the Clip 4 first, and then I'm gonna bounce back and forth between the Go 3 and the Clip 3. So you'll be able to hear the sound differences between all three. And just keep in mind, this is a sound sample. You're not gonna get the full effect of these speakers as if you're listening to it in person. So it'll be a close representation, but just not an exact representation. So I'm about 2 feet from the camera here, and I guess I'll start with it on its back and maybe lift it up just so you guys can see the difference from when it's on its back and facing directly towards you. And I'll be adjusting the volume throughout too, so let's go. right, so there you have it. What did you guys think of the sound test? So let's start with the Clip 4 here. I think it has a very tight, very balanced sound to it. Very clean in the highs and mid-range, even in the lows at 75%, which is always the sweet spot for these small speakers. And when it got to 100%, it didn't really lose any of that. It still has a very full, rich sound even at 100%. And just like the Go 3 at 100%, the lows weren't overtaking the mid-range or the highs at all, which seems to be the case with the Clip 3. It just seems like that bass just gets a little muddy at 100%. But which one sounds better between the Go 3 and the Clip 4? And you guys might think I'm crazy, but I still think the Go 3 sounds just slightly better than the Clip 4 here. If you listen really hard, the sound was just a tad bit louder in the Clip 3, but I think overall sound, I gotta give it to the Go 3. I just love the sound that comes out of this little Go 3. I mean, both of them have a very clean, refined sound, don't get me wrong. But my ears just gives the advantage to the Go 3 just slightly. Overall, I think these are two great little portable speakers by JBL. But being almost the same size and almost identical in sound quality, do we really need both of these speakers? The JBL Go 3 is 40 bucks, has 5 hours of playtime, is IP67 dust and waterproof, has Bluetooth 5.1, and has USB Type-C charging, where the JBL Clip 4 has exactly the same things, except it has 10 hours of playtime and costs $30 more at 70 bucks. And I haven't done a drop test on either of these speakers, but if I did, I would probably give the win to the Clip 4 just based on this metal frame that wraps around the whole body. The JBL Go 3 doesn't have that. Is it worth spending an extra $30 on the Clip 4 for an extra 5 hours of playtime and just having it slightly louder? Because realistically, they're almost exactly the same sound quality. All right, guys, it's giveaway time. Who wants to win this red JBL Clip 4? So if you've been a part of my giveaways in the past, it's really simple to enter. First, you must be subscribed to this channel. Number 2, you must like this video. And number 3, you have to comment on this video. In previous giveaways, I only allowed 1 comment, but now I'm allowing 5. That's right, comment up to 5 times, and once I hit 1,000 comments, I'm giving this away to one of you guys. And I will have all the information down below in my description box. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for this video. What do you guys think of the JBL Clip 4? Also, I just want to mention I am not sponsored by JBL. I actually picked this up with my own money, and I also bought the giveaway speaker, so this is a completely unbiased review. But even if JBL did give me the speaker, it would still be unbiased. I try to be as fair as possible with my reviews. So that being said, if you guys did enjoy this video, please give me that thumbs up. Please subscribe, and go!